Good morning, children. We will continue chapter number 11 of science, air, water and weather. Today we will do the last topic of this chapter, and this is the last chapter for your syllabus of science. After this, whatever chapters are left are reduced. We are not going to do those chapters, okay? And you have already got your portion for science exams, right? Okay. So we have already learned about air. We have learned about the factors which cause rain, which cause wind, land breeze and sea breeze, that is sun. Yes, we have learned about water. We have learned about evaporation. Yes, weather conditions. We have learned about factors affecting evaporations. We have also learned about condensation and its forms like dew, frost, snow, fog, mist. Right? Now, and we have also learned about weather, humid weather in the previous videos. Now today we will start water cycle. I know that this is not a new topic for you. You all have already learned about water cycle in your class 3, and since class 2 you have been learning this process. What is water cycle? Basically, the movement of water. Okay, the movement of water in nature from the sea in the form of steam, vapors, making clouds, and then again condensing and precipitating, and then again falling on earth as rain. Okay, seeping down underground, and then the remaining water goes again back to the rivers. This basic process, okay, the movement of water in nature is called as water cycle. Or we also term them that evaporation, the ongoing process, the continuous process of evaporation and condensation of water is called as water cycle. Why do we call it as cycle? See, have you ever seen a cycle? Yes. Have you seen those tires? They keep on moving. Cycle is basically actually an ongoing process in a circular way. Okay. So this keeps on going in a circular way. That is why it is called as water cycle. Now, apart from evaporation and condensation, there are many other things which go on in a water cycle. Okay, so we are going to read about those steps. But the major steps in water cycle are evaporation, condensation and precipitation. Now, how does these things happen? Okay, and which step is actually occurring after which, one after the other? That I am going to explain you. Now, let us see, let us learn with the help of this image, this diagram. Okay, now can you see this image here? Yes. Now see, we all know that the water present on the earth, it keeps on moving, as I've already told you. Okay, so this movement of earth from lakes, water, ocean in the atmosphere, it's called as water cycle. Yes, and the process of evaporation and condensation which happens continuously, this results in water cycle. Now let us see. So now what is the very first step? Can you see the sun over here? Yes. Now what does sun do? Sun heats water. We are talking about water cycle, so we will talk only about water. Sun heats water bodies, whether it is river, whether it is seas, oceans, lakes, ponds, everywhere wherever water is gathered. Okay, so sun heats water body. Now what happened? As the water gets heated, okay, it starts evaporating. Can you see these lines? It is not very clear in this image, but if you have the book, you will be able to see in number 2. Here you can see where number 2 is written. Yes, the steam coming out, the water vapor coming out, because the water gets heated and it starts evaporating. And what happens when it evaporates? It rises up. Yes, and it is rising up into air. Now once it rises up into air, what happens? They actually move up to a higher level, and then they cool and condense. Now what is the third step? That they condense to become droplets and form clouds. So water vapor, after heating up, they rise up, and then when they rise up to a certain distance, they cool, they condense, okay, they come together, and then they become droplets which forms clouds. Basically clouds are vapors only, water vapors, steam. Okay, so this is now the third step. That means this is condensation happening. We have learned about sun heating water. First step. Second step evaporation. Third step condensation. Now what happens after condensation? See, now when these clouds are formed and when enough water is condensed, okay, and when the clouds, the drops become heavy and heavy, they are not able to stay at one place. Okay, so they keep on moving and then they fall on the ground. Okay, in the form of rain. You must have experienced rain. What happens? What happens in the rain? See, the cloud, they get actually water get condensed and the raindrops, they become heavy and then they start falling on ground. So this is the fourth step and this is called as precipitation. Water can fall in the form of rain, in the form of snow, in the form of hails, depending upon the temperature of that place. Okay, like in already cold areas like in northern plains or in Himalayan region, it actually falls down in the form of snow because the weather is too cold. The temperature is very low, so it falls in the form of snow. Okay, and in normal temperate zone in like places where we live, okay, it falls in the form of rain. So this fourth step is called as precipitation. Okay, now what happens when this rainwater is falling on ground? Some water is falling again in the water bodies and some water is falling on the ground, which goes down. So this is now the fifth step. So some rainwater, what happens? It seeps inside the soil. It goes inside the soil, underground. Okay, and it forms groundwater. What does it form? This groundwater under the ground, the stored water underground. Okay, and the rest of the water, it flows back through the rivers into the ocean. Okay, from the rivers and all, it again go back to the ocean, and from ocean the sun is heating and these process will start. Sun heats up, evaporation happens, then condensation, then precipitation, then the water goes underground or stores at groundwater, and that groundwater is used or it can be dug out with the help of wells, tube wells, okay, hand pumps and bore wells. Okay, boring machines are there at our home. So those bore wells take out the underground water, it filter and then we use them. And some of the water from the rivers, it goes back again to ocean. So what is happening? This is a cycle going on. Okay, this process is continuing. No one is initiating, no one is stopping this process. This goes on naturally in our environment, in our atmosphere. Okay, so this is called as water cycle. So with this topic, we end up this chapter and we also end up the syllabus which we are going to do for class 4. Okay, so now very soon you already know the portion of science. So now please take out those chapters, complete your notes and start preparing for your exam. All the best.